Hi everyone, it's me, B at Ikale Sunflower. So I thought I'd hop on today and do a flip through and first impressions of a deck that I received yesterday. And this deck is called the Ancestral Healing Tarot Deck. It's a 81 card tarot deck and guidebook. And I got this deck from Beth at the Little Red Tarot. I had it on pre-order for a little while, but it was released yesterday to me. So it came in this top box. I'll just read the back of the box for you. Find your path forward by fostering ancestral healing in the present. Drawing on the traditional tarot illustrated by occultist Pamela Colman-Smith, these beautiful collage art tarot cards are designed like altars on which Black and Indigenous ancestry offer embodied wisdom for us to foster ancestral healing. This set includes the 78 traditional tarot cards plus 5 elemental cards: fire, air, water, earth and spirit. Scan the QR code to download an illustrated guidebook with card meanings reinterpretations through the lens of the ancestral wisdom. But before I talk about the guidebook, I just want to talk about what came with this deck. So this deck came in this really beautiful organic kind of drawstring bag. I like that it's packed ethically. So the deck also came with a few other things. So it came with a thank you card from Beth. And Little Red Tarot is an indie shop, you know, that stocks kind of radical decks. So Beth always puts in singular tarot cards. One that I got in this deck is the Moon card from the Melanated Stand tarot deck, which I do have. I intend to use this as a bookmark for the guidebook. And then you always get a deck interview spread as well. And it's got 6 placements and it just outlines the placement of each card. Now, the guidebook. So I tapped the QR code and it was really difficult for me to read. This guidebook here was a PDF and it was for the Melanated Stand Tarot, and I made it into like a book so that I can, well, pamphlet so that I can read it, because I do struggle with small print. This is for the Classic Tarot. This was quite a chunky PDF, and again I made it into an legible kind of guidebook. And I also done it for the Divine Portal Oracle. It took ages for the guidebook to be published, but then the creator did actually send me her own guidebook. So this is a spare one that I've got for this deck. Well, I tried to do it for the PDF for the deck in question, but the format wasn't allowing me to upload it. So I had to enlarge it and just print out some of it, because it's 135 pages. And to be fair, it's really well written, but I would have liked to have gone through the guidebook like I normally do when I'm doing my walkthroughs. So I'm just going to have to give you a couple of sheets. So this deck is dedicated to the creator's grandparents. And it's got, to my grandmother, you are the fire I tend to and the water I am. My precious joy, you're with me always. And then also there's a picture of her grandfather. To my grandfather, you are the water in the wind and the earth on which I rest, die, bloom. Thank you. Content page. It's laid out quite nice. So it's got We Are Here. Then it talks about the Ancestral Healing Tarot, getting familiar with your deck, spreads for ancestral healing, the Major Arcana, the Minor Arcana, and then it talks about each of the suits, so fire, air, water, earth. Then it gives acknowledgements. I wasn't able to print all this out on my printer because it's a lot of pages, but I have emailed the creator to ask her if she can put her PDF in a different format so that I can make it readable for me. I'm just going to read here a bit about the Minor Arcana, which I did manage to print out. Minors are divided into 4 elements of suits: fire, air, water and earth. In the traditional tarot, fire corresponds to wands, air to swords, water to cups, and earth to pentacles. I have decided to keep the elements fire, air, water, and earth, as working with them is part of my personal practice. Each suit is composed of 14 cards. Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Page, Knight, Queen and King. Because I wanted to move away from the hierarchy and aristocracy, I have replaced the court cards Page, Knight, Queen, King by their elemental correspondence. So Page becomes Earth, Knight becomes Air, Queen becomes Water, and King becomes King. So King stays the same, basically. So then she talks a bit about the court cards, which I will talk about here. So pages, think about the pages as practical messengers, the foundation we all need to start any project in this way. Pages are builders, creators. Knights. Knights correspond to air. Here we have messengers, rebels, change makers. There is always action and forward movement with the knight. Then the Queen corresponds to the element of water. About 70% of the human body is made up by water, and coincidentally, more than 70% of Earth is covered by water. With water, we touch on the landscapes within, the internal realms, the self-guides that we are. The 22 major arcana, also called the Fool's Journey, depict timeless spiritual forces we all deal with collectively, whether consciously or unconsciously. The major arcana therefore represents the spirit element, which you can also call life force, the universe, love, etc. The major arcana start with 0, the Fool, and end with the card 21, the World. In this deck, you will also find 5 additional cards: Fire, Air, Water, Earth, and Spirit. The Ancestral Healing Tarot deck is therefore an 83 card deck, 78 additional cards plus 5 elemental cards. Each elemental description has a QR code leading you to hypnobiotic trance to connect simultaneously to these elements. Then she talks about getting familiar with your deck. So she talks about witnessing, reconciling, what about reversals. How I experience reversals personally is often a blocked energy of the card presented to me. However, reading reversals is totally up to you. If reading them doesn't feel right, don't do it. Again, tarot is a divination tool, so make sure to connect to yourselves and spirit however most authentic to you. Then it talks about cards as a daily draw practice. It talks about tarot can draw. If we believe that drawing a card is an omen, a message sent from spirit, then intentionally choosing a card allows us to send message back to spirit. This is called tarot conjure. If you particularly relate to card messages and wish to foster more of its energy in your life, you can keep this card on your altar, your desk, in your bag, etc. When you pick a card and keep it close to you long enough, you start changing and embodying more of this archetypal in your life. Notice how the energy of the chosen card affects your day-to-day, your thinking process, your behavior, your state of feeling, and quality of being. Storing and cleansing. Make sure to store your cards somewhere safe in their original box or a cloth that you have blessed. If you want to cleanse your cards, you can leave them by the moonlight or cleanse them with ethically sourced herb, root, wood. Whatever you choose, know that you have a relationship with the deck, and like in any other relationship, there needs to be respect, care, affection, witnessing, and love. Make sure you give back to your deck just as much as you ask of it. Oh, I love that. I really do like that. So, there's also like some spreads for ancestral healing. So there's a 1-card spread, the single question spread. You may simply pull a card to answer a simple question. Make sure you take the affirmation away, write it down and repeat it to yourself when the challenge you're facing is too much to bear alone. Then it's the 3-card spread. Then the 4-card spread is called the Inner Child Healing Spread. So position 1 is what element of my past is resurfacing now. Position 2, what pain is this reminding me of? Position 3, what does my inner child say about this situation? and position 4. How can I reconcile with this pain? What a beautiful spread. So I'm just going to show you how the cards are laid out as well. So this is the 4 card. Then we go and look. Then we'll look at the cards. Energy 0, and Uranus must be the planet. Upright. Beginner's mind, the opportunity to add to what Ancestry has built for us. The leap. Reversed. Recklessness. Paralyzing fear. Fear to be seen trying. Hang on. The Fool is, I think that means naive. Embodied, but do correct me if I'm wrong. There is a certain type of confidence that can only be found in a child's smile. Confidence is not the certainty that everything will go right or as expected, but the trust that no matter what happens, you and your ancestors have your back. Starting over doesn't mean that we start from scratch. We get to start a new chapter in a very old book of our lineage. Trust that all of your past experiences and lives have prepared you for this moment. And then it has an affirmation. When I leap into the unknown, I know my ancestors have my back. I really like her writing style. I think that's fantastic. Okay, so let's have a look at the cards. Now, if I compare this card to my Urbana Weight, which is a regular Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you can see that these cards are exactly the same size. I love the Cory shell. This looks like a poppy or some kind of flower, and it's got the Cory shell in the centre. And this looks like the cosmos, but this is just my own assumption. I'm sure that the guidebook will have that in there because this guidebook is 135 pages and it looks like it's really, really well written. So let's turn over the cards. Okay, so there's 5 extra cards for the elements. So the major arcana is the element of spirit. So I'll put that card first. So you've got the Fool card. And this looks like that this kind of teenagey looking person or young adult is in the cosmos. Like he's riding a unicorn. And as you can see, he's not holding on to the straps. And his feet are not in the pedals, so he is taking a risk there. The Magician. This looks like a younger person, a child. It looks like he's got all the tools on his table. You see the rainbow. You see the affinity. I love this dash. I wonder what that dash means. And he's kind of semi-blindfolded and his eyes are shut. But to me, this means that he's a jack of all trades and he can do anything with his eyes closed. He's so skilled. And I'd like to know what the mushrooms mean and the butterflies mean and the mountain mean, but I'm sure, again, that's in the guidebook. The High Priestess. I love this. She's in front of the moon. She's on a kind of like a boat. She looks like she's up in the clouds. Now, the Empress looks like Josephine Baker in her younger days. She's wearing a garden as her skirt. And as you can remember, she did adopt quite a lot of children. So that's probably the mothering element of this card. Oh, I love this Empress. He's standing tall and confident. Yeah, again, it looks like he's in the cosmos. And he's got stilts on his leg. So he's not allowing his disability to kind of like affect his confidence, which I like. So you've got the Hierophant. The Hierophant looks like Harriet Tubman to me. Loads of candles. So it's like an altar to Harriet Tubman, who taught us many lessons in life. These pillows kind of have got like a High Priestess kind of feel. So you've got the Lovers, and I like the fact that it's 2 older females in same-sex kind of union. You've got the Chariot, and it looks like these Egyptian statues. I would have liked to have known what this means, but I'm sure, as I said before, it's in the guidebook. And again, she seems to be up above water. Beautiful strength card. That lion's got like a, looks like it's got a big roar, but it's harmless. Being stroked here by the person with the affinity on her head. And I like the fact that the sun's coming through the clouds. That's the hermit. I love this depiction of the hermit. So this looks like he's in a desert. You can see that he's got his candle and his keys to go off and contemplate in complete wilderness. You know, he's on his own for sure. This is the Wheel of Fortune. I love to know what these symbols here mean, but again, I'm sure it's in the book. I love this Justice. It's just like water, and it says justice is healing. Beautiful. And each of the cards have got the numbers on there as well, so it'd be easy for you, if you don't understand the imagery, to kind of relate to the numbering. So card 12 is usually the Hangman in the traditional deck, but here it's called the Liminal Space. I love this Death card because it's unusual. It looks like there's mannequins with skeletal heads. So I guess that, you know, death is all about transformation. The Temperance, you know, she's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. She's got her cups there trying to find harmony and balance and transform things, because she's got the butterfly wings. So to transform things into harmony and balance. I love this Devil card. You've got like an older couple that are chained by the neck. And you've got all this kind of like reddish smoke. And the Devil does look kind of Capricorn-like. Very beautiful. So you've got the Tower. Look at that. The lightning and all this. Again, a lot of red smoke. So you've got the Star. The Moon. The Sun. Look at the beautiful sunflowers and the 2 children. They look like twins playing with each other. And twins in some cultures, especially the Yoruba culture, are a big blessing. Oh, look at this Judgment card. I love her face, all tribal marks. Look at the courier, look at the earrings. Just stunning. And then you've got the World. Then there's like a information sheet that says, may this deck help you through and reconcile with your greatest pains of displacement, search for belonging, nostalgia, and homesickness. May you get close enough to your fears to allow them to turn into the fiercest companions, the most patient friends, and the wisest guides. May you realize you've always belonged to your ancestors' hearts. This deck become a portal to your ancestral healing, as it has been for mine. You are precious. And I love that it's got cowrie shells and then like the stars. To me, the star represents ancestor or ancestors. So I've repacked this because it was in a different order, but I like my cards to flow in a certain order. You've got Fire, and it's got like a cover card, beautiful. So the Fire, as we said earlier, is the one suit. So you've got the Ace of Fire. I'd love to know what this is called. I can't remember, but I know it's called something, and it will be in the book. So I can always look that up once I get access to the book, the format that I can read it. So you've got the Two of Fire, the Three of Fire, the Four of Fire, the Five of Fire. These people look like they're more of a team than in conflict. The Six of Fire, the Seven of Fire. This person looks like, you know, don't mess with me kind of person, standing their ground for sure. And you see all the lightning to indicate that this person's got an extremely strong character. 8 of fire. I can feel the swift movement with this archetype jumping over the pole. 9 of fire. And 10 of fire. This load looks heavy for sure. And then you've got the earth of fire, which, as I said earlier, are the pages that have all been changed to earth. The air of fire, which are the knights. The water of fire, which is the queen. She looks really comfortable in her bed of clouds. And the fire of fire is the king. So moving on to the element of water, which is cups in this additional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. I do like this kind of picture. This looks kind of soothing. So you've got the ace of water. The two of water. Looks like a couple that are dating. And I love how full-figured the female is. You've got the 3 of water. These 3 lovely ladies are celebrating something. Look at all the florals. 4 of water. This person's not paying attention to the big cup of water by her side. She's just kind of daydreaming and not really paying attention, really. I love this depiction of the 5 of water because these people look like they're kind of like dying of thirst, and they're in some kind of desert. And as you can see, the 3 cups in front have been spilled over, but there's 2 upright which they can use to drink. 6 of water, nostalgia. I love the choice card, but as I always say, not all choices are good choices. So make sure that you pick the right choice for you. 8 of water. I like how this person and her baby on her back are walking away from that emotional situation or challenging situation. This person looks very comfortable in their own body. And this looks like a generation or generations of one happy family. So you've got the earth of water, the air. I must admit the pages and the knights do look quite old, because I usually associate age to my court card, but maybe that's because how I was told court cards back in the day. So there's a horse in this one. Water. You can see she's mothering and nurturing her child or grandchild. And the fire of water. So we're now moving on to the element of air, which is the swords in the traditional deck. The swords is my favourite suit. So this has kind of got like a very autumn feeling with the, you know, the brown leaves and stuff. So you've got the ace of air, the 2 of air. I love this 3 of air, you know, because this looks like a black mass of clouds in the shape of a heart with 3 spears going down there. So this is, to me, is saying this is all in your mind. You can be set free. This is the 4 of air. It looks like 3 people that are meditating, and I guess that meditation in a way is quite relaxing. With the 5 of air, 6 of air. I love how these 2 are moving forward to safer waters. So you've got the 7 of air. Looks like these don't belong to her, really. Is she going to pick them up? I love this 8 of air, you know, because this person is bound by clouds. So she can always release herself, you know, if it's not tight, there's always a release. the Nightmare card. Look how that spear is going right near the neck, you know, where all the tension is, and keeping that person awake. And 10 of air. I like how the swords are just resting on her, you know. She's naked, so she's been stripped, and the only way now is up and forward into better times. So we've got the earth of air, the air of air, the water of air, and the fire of air. So moving on to the final suit, which is the suit of earth and pentacles in this additional tarot deck. This looks like just nature. It's beautiful. So these look like golden pairs, but I'm sure there's the proper name will be in the guidebook. So I love how this person's feet are above the cloud and holding up this lovely golden pair. 2 of earth, this person's balancing this. This sometimes can be water jugs, but not so in this deck. So you've got the 3 of earth, called the apprentice card. 4 of earth. I love this, you know, this woman's with her child, and there's the archway there inviting her to come in to get all the golden pairs. 6 of earth, just generosity. 7 of earth. Brooklyn, Coney Island, I don't know what that is. 8 of earth. I love this 9 of earth, you know, like a self-employed woman or person enjoying her comforts from hard work. 10 of earth. Then you've got the earth of earth, the air of earth, the water of earth, and the king of earth. Really lovely dressed man. Now, before I shuffle the cards, let's look at what decks I'd like to pair with this deck. So first of all, I was thinking about pairing it with the Relative Tarot or even the Rosebud Tarot, only because of the kind of Victorian images and that they were collage decks. But the Rosebud Tarot and the Relative Tarot have borders, and this deck is a borderless deck. So I've got 2 decks that I think might work well. This first one will be the Herbal Astrology, because I see the Herbal Astrology deck as a melanated deck, because all the archetypes in this deck are brown, and also they're both to do with healing. So, you know, one is healing through ancestral magic and the other one is healing through herbs. So I just thought that they'd go well together, plus they're both borderless. So this is one option. And the second option that I think I'd pair with this deck is the Cosmos Tarot by Cosmopolitan. The backs of the cards remind me of the galaxy, and this deck is also kind of galactical in my opinion. But what I like about this deck is that it's all about the cosmos and stuff, and it's got like the galactical kind of background. And I think it will just pair nicely with this deck for some reason. I think they really go together. Oh, look at that, 2 hierophants together. This deck has been in my purgatory box for quite a while, because I was umming and ahhing as to whether I want to keep it. But I think I will kind of pair it up with this deck and see how they go. But I do think this is a brilliant pairing, especially the major arcanas, because they're got that same dark galactical kind of background. And opposites do attract, in my opinion. So let's just give these cards a shuffle. These cards shuffle very, very, very smoothly. I love them. Can you hear that click, click, click? Click, click, click. The cardstock to me is kind of like waterproof-ish. That they feel like they could be waterproof. I've got that kind of same feel as some of my waterproof decks. They're quite flexible. They've been right back into shape. So riffle and bridge shufflers would also find this deck quite easy to shuffle. This is a very shuffleable deck. Okay, so what are my first impressions of this deck? I absolutely love it. I just wish that I could have, I could print out the guidebook, which I'm sure that I will at some point, so that I can read through the book and work with the deck, because I like the author's writing style, and the guidebook seems to be very, very informative, the parts that I managed to print out. So I'm looking forward to that. I think this deck is for everyone, because a lot of people might be saying, oh, I don't fit the demographic for this deck. But then nor do I, because even though this is a deck for black and people of colour, we're not all one culture. The African culture is depicted look more South African to me, but that's just my own opinion. And there's also like a lot of American culture, like Black American culture and indigenous cultures of America as well. So this is not really my demographic either, but I'm still willing to work with this deck. People always assume that if you're black, it's just one culture. But like white cultures, you know, we have different cultures within the black and brown communities. So I think this deck is a deck for everyone. I really love the collage artwork. It's got kind of like a Victorian feel, and the Victorian era plus the 1950s are one of my favourite eras. You can see the Rider-Waite-Smith in this deck, so you can, you know, so if you're familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith, I don't think you'll have an issue reading this deck. I don't think it's for beginners though. I think this deck is more for the intermediate and seasoned reader, but then that's just my own personal opinion. We're all entitled to have that opinion, but I just think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck, and it was a deck that was well worth waiting for. So I will leave the links in the description bar on how to purchase this deck. I leave two links. I leave the Little Red Tarot link, and I'll also leave the creators link. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.